Okay. It's going. This is the first podcast since March of last year.
Nuh-uh, it's been that long?
Yeah, I've been busy.
And also the first of 2019.
Right. So it's number 11. So there was 10.
I thought you had more.
No, really not.
Well, let's make that a goal to do more. Or you make that a goal.
Oh, put it all on me.
To do more.
It's just been...
Where all are you posting them? Or whatever, uploading them to?
On just the website, and then... I don't know. That's like a very... You just asked like a very grandmotherly question. Like...
No, I mean, like, do you put them on CastBox and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know.
Oh.
I think you have to be part of that to do it.
Oh.
I really don't know.
Okay, then don't rip on my question.
No, it's just, it goes onto the website server thing, and then you can get it on iTunes. I think. I don't know.
Okay.
I never listen to my own podcast.
Well,
I'm not even sure if other people do, to be honest.
Well, probably not, but if you want to promote it, you probably need to know.
I don't. That's the thing about me. I don't want to promote anything ever.
Oh, all right.
I just want to just live in the shadows.
Okay.
I want to be like Knight Rider.
He drove around in a flashy car that spoke to people. That's not living in shadows.
When you say spoke to people, do you mean literally or figuratively?
Both.
Because that car is a piece of shit. If you've ever been in one of those cars, the Knight Rider car is a piece of shit. The early 80s Trans Ams, fucking junk, cheap-ass dash, just a piece of crap car with a junk motor. The fact
Why'd you say you want to be like him?
No, I didn't say I want to be like the car. I said I want to be like Michael Knight, living in the shadows. Operating in a
Would you rather be like a DeLorean than a...
I don't want to be a car. You're mistaking
me. If you
me.
were a car, what would it be?
That's a tough one. I think if I was a car...
Or a vehicle. Let's not limit it to cars.
I'd probably still go car. I'd like to be...
I guess what you're going to say.
What?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Guess. No. What's your guess? Because I've got two.
You're going to say you want to be an Aston Martin because that's what you want to have.
No, I want an Aston Martin, but I don't want to be an Aston Martin.
Oh.
I feel like an Aston Martin's kind of pretentious. And I don't want to be pretentious.
Oh. I'm just going to not finish the sentence. I was just going to start. Go ahead.
Oh.
So...
I was gonna say, if I was a car, I'd like to be like one of those old 50s Cadillacs with all the chrome, a big fucking sexy thing. Or I'd like to be like a 70 Mustang Mach 1 or something like that. Boss 429, just a badass fucking muscle car.
I can't.
If I was a car.
Well, that's very fitting for you, yes.
Thanks for judging.
In a positive way.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
How about you? If you were going to be a car?
I don't know. I was actually going to say muscle car myself, but you took it, so then I would.
Well,
feel
you could
like
still be.
Yeah. I would be the Smokey and the Bandit.
Trans Am?
Trans Am.
It's not a bad car.
Yeah.
It's not a bad car.
But I don't know. That's my answer for now. It might change later.
Okay.
I'm going to holler out a different vehicle
we'll come
in
back.
the middle of it. Okay.
We'll come back to this.
So how's your year going so far?
Oh, I'm tired.
That's why your eyes are all bloodshot?
Yes. I don't know what happens. People say all the time, like, what's wrong with your eyes? They're all bloodshot. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm tired.
It only happens certain nights.
I don't know what happens.
It is 10:04.
I know. It's very late. But I don't know what happens. I really don't. My eyes just start burning and like I've had them open too long or something. And
well, you do a lot of screen
you
staring.
think that's it? Because you know what? So there was a study I read yesterday. For the past few years, it's been study after study after study that phones and screens are completely fucking up our kids.
Great.
Too much screen time, too much this, too much that. So
yeah, but don't they mean by screen time not the physical screen itself on your eyeballs. It means them like checking into a virtual type thing rather than playing and being in reality and all that kind of stuff.
All right, so two things. I think there is a screen thing that if you look at a physical screen, like your eyeballs on a screen, fucks your eyes up. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
This study was something completely different.
Okay.
About depression and how kids get suicidal and all this stuff from screen. So one of the fucked up things I've noticed with studies in the past few years is when you look at the studies, the group of people that they've selected to study is usually the most fucked up random small group of people you've ever seen ever. So they'll publish these big studies and it'll be like 200 people. And you're like, well, 200 people that you gathered in one town doesn't represent 300 million people in America. Mm-hmm. And then you take it a step farther and it's like, oh, well, those 200 people were also mental patients that was easy for us to study because they were, there every day and we could keep them in a controlled environment. And then you're like, oh, well, that really isn't good either. And when you start digging into some of these, like the data is so wackadoodle. And so long story short. So there's been a lot of studies out that because kids are on iPads and phones and all the shit, that there's a rise in suicides and depression and all that stuff. But all the studies that have studied it are kind of, I don't even know what the word is. It's that famous thing where, like, just because the same thing is true in a lot of cases doesn't mean it's the cause. So just because 10 kids looked at a cell phone and 8 of them did something, just because they looked at the cell phone, it's a common trait,
right?
But it may not be the cause.
It could be all those children also ate breakfast that morning and blah blah blah.
Exactly it. Like, you don't say, hey, because you wake up in the morning, that makes you do X. Everybody should just stay asleep. Everybody wakes up in the morning. Like, that's the same thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, there's been a study that was released the other day, and again, studies you never know, but this one went a lot deeper and a lot more scientific and a lot broader. And they said that looking at screens and the causation of depression and suicide and all that was less than people that ate a lot of potatoes. That eating potatoes...
I really fucking love potatoes. So
right.
That's a problem.
But no, they're saying, like, if you were going to take people and, like, introduce potatoes and did the same study with potatoes, you'd have more people that are depressed because they ate a certain diet of potatoes than looked at screens. And I could be fucking that up a little bit but it's along those lines. Like, that's the minuscule amount of people who were affected by looking at a screen on a regular basis would be the same amount of people that were affected by eating too many potatoes. It's basically what they're saying is, like, it's nothing. Like, the studies that... And then the other thing is that it seems like they craft studies a lot of times. Like, they interpret the data to fit an agenda or a presumed outcome.
Today, are your eyes bloodshot because you stared at the screen all day and had too many potatoes?
Here's the thing.
Is that...
I don't think I had any potatoes today. No, none.
You didn't for dinner? None?
Nope, no for lunch.
So, you stared at a screen all day and did not have enough potatoes in your system.
That could be it. I didn't have any potatoes.
Has anyone done the reverse study?
I don't know a lot about potato studies. I'm just saying.
I would love to do every potato study on Earth.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'd sign right up for that. So, what else?
I don't know what to say after that.
Well, you don't have to say anything.
Well, it's a podcast. We should keep talking if...
Well, no, I feel like we should address the new members of the family for a minute.
The puppies?
Because I'm surprised they have not made any type of sound.
Is the one behind me?
Apple's in his bed.
Okay.
Boots said, fuck it, I'm sleeping in front of the heater. Well, nobody's yelling at me.
Puppies. Aren't puppies the best thing ever?
They are, but they poop and pee a lot.
Yeah, but it's just part of it. Like, sooner or later they won't.
Are they, though? Are they ever gonna not do that?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%. They're just puppies.
Like, this was 13 years ago the last time we did this, and I can't remember how we did it.
And it seems like so much poop and pee because there's two of them.
Well, yeah. Thanks for that.
Why are you so negative all the time? I brought you twice as much joy.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Thanks.
It is
I already
weird.
had so much with you.
Huh. It's so weird that when I take just one of them to work, it's infinitely easier to deal with than two of them at the same time. Like one, you can just watch it. When there's two, I don't know why it seems like it's so bad. There's just one more. But they go in different directions and you can't be there at the same time and they're just...
But then also when they're together, they just fight and kind of do stuff together. You know what I mean? So they kind of entertain each other. You know? Mm-hmm. Which if you had only one, it would look to you more for that time of entertaining than...
What's funny is the internet is the best and the worst thing for everything anymore.
I know.
But you read all these articles like, oh, you shouldn't get two puppies from the same litter because they become codependent on each other. And if they're separated, then on and on and on and on, blah, 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 blah.
They have zero problems.
They don't give a singular shit.
No.
Like, you take one and go for the whole day and he's like, yeah, whatever. Cool.
Right.
Like, I don't care.
They don't even look for the other one.
No, they don't care. They just don't care. But you get them together and they're like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Well, yeah, when they come back together at the end of the day, they're like, oh, hey, we haven't fought for 8 hours.
Right.
Let's have it out. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how they learn. That's how they learn how to bite and not bite. And they call that, what the hell do they call that? There's a word for it I've read over and over again about how hard to bite. Because when they bite each other, that's how they figure out, like, oh, I shouldn't bite that hard because that hurts.
Well, they have not figured that out yet.
Bite inhibition is what it's called. Yeah, they have. They're
not
getting better about it.
Whatsoever.
Because they said when a puppy is, I think they said 12 weeks or some weeks old, when it's still a puppy, and our puppies are well beyond that.
No,
they're
said, almost, they'll be 10 weeks on Sunday.
Somewhere around right now, they said a puppy's jaw has enough power to crush a chicken bone.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which is also the same amount of power you need to crush somebody's finger.
Yeah.
And they don't do that. Like, they don't break the skin.
No.
Well, I take that back. One of them got
right.
me. One of them
You're
got
right.
me in the finger the other day when I was trying to give him a treat.
Yeah.
Got a little excited, but...
Well, your finger's like a treat. It's a little sausage.
That's not very nice.
No, I didn't mean it bad. Just anybody's finger is like a little sausage.
Well, but that's how they learn how to. They bite each other. They said when you take a puppy away from too soon, which we probably got them too soon.
For sure.
But when you take them away from their siblings and their mother, they bite, and there's no other puppy there to yip or bitch back at them that says, "Oh, you bit me too hard," and then they have a lot harder time learning.
When we yell at them and smack them, they know that they bit too hard. But
True. Oh. It's been a long time since we did a podcast.
I know. Why is that? Are you sure? Since March?
Yeah, I looked tonight.
Can't be true.
I looked tonight because I was like, I got a new laptop, and the software that we use to record these wasn't on my new laptop, and so I downloaded that, and then I was like, shit, is the website thing that I upload the podcast to still even working?
I thought we did one in the summer together like this.
Nope. The last one was in March of 2018.
Who was it?
I don't remember. But it was number 10. Came out of the gate strong last year. But then life happened all summer.
Right.
And then we moved out of the one shop to the other shop. Which, you know what? People probably have a lot of questions about that. I get questions about it. Oh, go ahead. Just get random messages from people. That's
Somebody
fine.
mentioned me in a comment, John.
Nice.
If you can't handle my celebrity, then don't invite me to a podcast.
To be honest, I'm not... Oh, my phone's over there. I was going to say,
What
I
were
don't
you
even know what I
saying?
do with my phone.
People have questions about what?
Us moving out of the one shop into the old shop and all that shit. And the long and the short of it is, so we're coming up on... We're roughly... What's today? 24th? Let me look here. We are roughly a week away from... Sorta. Actually, it's probably already been, but officially a week away from 10 years of me doing the little power shop thing full time. And when I started doing this, I didn't want to do repairs and be fixing shit. I wanted to do upgrades and aftermarket and... Well, yeah, crack that fucking beer. But I wanted to do upgrades and aftermarket, and I didn't want to be fixing broken stuff. I didn't want to do general repairs.
Okay.
And
But, well, sorry, go ahead and finish. I don't want to interrupt you.
but as we went along, and I'm a big softy all the time for helping people out. Like somebody would call and be like, "Hey, my truck's broke, and you know what's wrong with it?" And I did, and off we went. And the shop kept getting bigger and bigger and doing more things.
Also, and a huge discussion that we had back in the day was and I don't know, you'll have to educate me on whether this is still the thought line, is you will have zero credibility in your industry if you don't have a shop that you are doing all of these things in. Remember that?
All
it
right.
was
Are
like...
you going to go turn off the baby monitor?
Yep.
All right. Go ahead. I'll wait for you to come back, and I'll just give people a little backstory.
Gonna take me 5
So the baby monitor is beeping right now in the other room because the batteries are going dead. And our baby is almost 7. But for some reason, my nutty wife has a baby monitor. Rebuttal?
We've been over this like 1,000.
And she can just come downstairs and be like, "Hey, I
But
gotta
she
pee."
won't. Like the
But
worst,
she would just yell. Like
the
right
worst
now.
thing in the world could be well, but I can't hear up there. It's the craziest bullshit acoustics in this house.
All right, whatever.
Anyway,
So, anyways, no, but we still have a shop, but we don't do repairs. And you're right,
but
because here's the
I
difference.
thought that was our discussion back then. Was geez, it lends credibility when all these parts that we're selling we've actually put on. We can give all the
But there's a difference between you're installing aftermarket parts, which we still do, and that's what I want to do, and we're changing water pumps because one went bad. Like anybody can change a water pump. Who cares? You could if you want to, but that's not the stuff that I want to do. So, and that's not the stuff we sell. That kind of stuff would be you go to your regular auto parts and you get a water pump and put it on. And I take that back. We do sell water pumps on our website, but let me back up. When I first started the business, I started off as a shop, and I only wanted to do upgrades and aftermarket. And that's mostly what I took. And then when people would bring repair stuff, especially when you're first starting out, you kind of take everything. So you worry a lot about having enough work to keep busy and paying the bills and all that stuff. So if whatever comes through the door, you take. And we took a lot of repairs, and then it kept going, and more repairs because we did good at it. But that's not what I wanted to do. And then we started doing a lot of online business, and that's the majority and the bulk of our business right now is online and phone sales. And at some point recently, I looked at it all, and we had a lot of repair business, and it was good business. And if it was the only business we had, if our repair was our sole focus for this area, we would have a hell of a business. The amount of money that we turned over doing repairs was substantial. But it was only about 15% of our overall business.
And it's a giant pain in the ass.
Exactly. So when you started looking at it, it's 15% of our business.
100% of your stress.
Right. It's all the stress in the world. And it's not what I wanted to do. And it was most of our expense. So if you started to add it all up, it's like, sure, there's a lot of revenue coming in for the repair stuff, but the amount of expense to run that business mixed with the grief that comes with it. And, to be honest with you, what it's tough about repairs is nobody's driving around today going, I hope my turbo goes out because I set aside $2,000 to replace it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it to go out.
Right.
They're
Totally prepared.
They're trying to get to work or hauling something to a job or whatever, and the turbo goes out, and then it gets hauled to our shop, and then I have to pick the phone up and go, hey, I got some bad news, or somebody that works for us does, and goes, hey, I got some bad news. It's going to be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 to fix it. And of course, they're not like, great, I was really hoping to do this this week without notice. And then you have a lot of trouble getting paid. You have a lot of trouble with people who want to fix things as cheap as possible. And that's the other thing I get a kick out of. Over the course of my life, I've seen a lot of shops start up and go out. And everybody always starts with this notion where we're not going to charge too much. We're going to be cheap. Our labor rates are going to be low. I just saw one the other day on Facebook, a local one. Our labor rates are going to be reasonable, and we're not going to mark up parts 20% like every place else does. I got some fucking news for you, folks. You cannot survive in business unless you mark the parts up. Because what people don't understand is, here's what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks that any shop that installs parts, the parts just show up, and then you mark them up, and you just make the extra money. Mm-hmm. They could have just went to the parts stores and got it themselves. What you don't realize is there's a person who's getting paid an hourly wage to look the parts up that go to your vehicle. Mm-hmm. They either have to make a phone call most often or go get the parts or order them online or something. There's an amount of time in
the process.
Yeah, there's 10, 15, 20, half an hour involved in doing an estimate up for the customer. So you have to do an estimate up. You have to look all the prices of the parts up. You have to put it all together. You have to call the customer, get an approval. Then you have to call the parts store, order all the parts, get them all coming. Sometimes there's shipping on them. So it's not like if you look up what a rotor is at Napa and it's $54, it doesn't cost a repair shop $54. It costs them whatever else it took to get that to their shop. Mm-hmm. And so let's just say you're paying somebody $15 an hour and it took them half an hour to do the estimate and get those parts. That's $7. So you mark that $52 part up to $59. That's barely 8% markup. Like, you might as well not even be dealing with parts at all for that much money. Because then the next thing that happens is somebody pays for everything with a credit card. They take 3%, so now you just made 6%. Mm-hmm. So you just made 6% on a part that you get to pay somewhere in the neighborhood of 20% taxes on at the end of the year. So I just made, what? So $4 on that part, and I get to give away $1 of it to the government at the end of the year? Oh, yeah. So now you come in 6 months and something went bad with that rotor. What do you want me to do? You want me to warranty it. So now my guy has to look it all up, call the parts store. Hey, we got a bad one. We have to replace it. And we usually eat all that. All for $4 or $5. That's not even close to worth anybody's grief. And it takes you a long time to understand that. Like, you will...
John, you're just being greedy.
No, and that's why it's... And people, like, it just kills me. Like, it's really, really hard. And I understand on the other side of it, like, there's two different kinds of people that own vehicles. There's the type of person who wants things fixed no matter how much it costs. Like, I just want it right. Mm-hmm. If I have one bad brake, replace them all. I don't want to have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. Well, that person is only that way because they can afford it. Mm-hmm. The rest of the population wants that fucking thing fixed as cheaply as possible because that is the tool that gets them back and forth to work, and they're getting rid of it in a year or two. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not an investment that they're gonna,
Well,
return on.
I have those two extremes also in my industry. It just doesn't have anything to do with them being able to get to work and stuff. You know what I mean? There's always going to be that spectrum of customer. Right. The one that just wants everything done right, doesn't matter what the price, and the one that wants it done, well, I could do it myself for this. Why can't you just do it for this?
Doesn't your business sort of already naturally kind of pre-select your clients? Like, it's not like you don't get a lot of people calling you up going, hey, I want this just painted white. They usually want something more beautiful or...
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, but there is still definitely the spectrum.
Right, but what I'm saying is your clients, I feel like, are more towards what I want to do now because... so, going back to this whole analogy with a turbo going on a truck. Nobody is driving around going, cool, I've set aside $2,000 in case my turbo goes out, and it went out, cool, put a new one on. But people do want to upgrade their turbo. They want more horsepower, or they want a lift kit, or they want running boards, or whatever it is they want that's an upgrade. And they put more value on it and enthusiasm on that because it's fun and it's improving something. So
it's
somebody,
more of a luxury type.
Yeah. So somebody will set aside $500 or $1,000 or whatever the amount is to upgrade their vehicle, and they'll call you and they'll be like, "Hey, I want to put we'll just do running boards, for example. I want to put running boards on." So you look up the price and you say, "Okay, it's going to be $500 to running boards to install them," and they're going to go, "Cool. I'm excited for this because it's going to make my truck better." And then there's a fixed finite amount of time that's going to take us to install that. I know it's going to take us a couple hours or whatever it is, as opposed to somebody's truck who they call me up and they're like, "Hey, my truck quit running today. It's smoking really bad."
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? I don't know. All right, I'll drop it off. And we're already booked out 2 weeks, and you don't know what you're getting into. And then especially when you're diagnosing things, like everybody wants you to have this, give me an estimate and that's what it's going to be. And it's not always that easy. Like a lot of times when we get trucks in, there's one main problem that quit it from running. Like, did I say that right? That quit it from running?
That stopped it from running?
Stopped it from running? That made it stop running? Whatever. But anyways, there's one drastic reason that it stopped working. But when you start going through the diagnosis, there might be 5 things that are completely screwed with this truck. And you might end up in one of those 5 things somewhere before you get to the drastic one, because when you check, like, there's yes, no checks through everything. Does it have fuel pressure? No. Okay, well, the fuel pump's bad. And it might have ran with really low fuel pressure, but that might not be what caused it to quit.
Well, no, here's the deal. The thing that's really, really wrong with it was the problem, and all the other things that are wrong with it are your fault because you worked on it.
No, that's after. Like our
Right.
famous thing, like the ever since
My
you
window
worked,
won't roll down
Ever
because
since
you
you-
replaced my engine.
right? Ever since you replaced the brakes on my truck, my radio doesn't play as
Yes.
good. My windows don't roll up as fast. My dog doesn't hunt as good. My wife started fucking somebody else. Ever since you put that new
Well,
tailgate
that
in my
is your
truck.
fault.
Well, true. And you're just like, okay. And I don't want to be a dick because I get it. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't have any mechanical knowledge at all, you instantly, and that's the other thing about the repair business, everybody is 100% sure they're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Like, almost
Oh,
everybody is 100% sure because so many places do screw people over.
Well, like my mom's car.
Oh my God.
She needs brakes. It's going to be $600.
It was more than that. Those criminals
It
wanted.
was $675 or something like that. They told her on a RAV4 to replace the brakes.
And so, but we're still getting into the same kind of thing
Yeah.
that I was just talking about. So they're running a shop where they obviously have to make money. I'm sure it's a dealership. They're trying to pay their wages. But
on one view, just
but-
on my mom.
the problem is, if you pull it in, look, you're like, it doesn't need all those parts. It roughly needed $40 worth of parts and an hour of labor. Like $100, she's fixed. But how many people? And I'm sure they probably would have replaced all the parts that they said they had to replace, but it didn't need it. And that's the thing that I'm saying, where people are so used to getting boned like that all the time, they think everybody does it. And I finally got to the point where, like, I just don't want to deal with this anymore. It's not what I want to do. I'm just tired of it. We have this enormous building, enormous expenses, all this grief from the repair shop, and it's the small part of our business. It's what I spend the majority of my day dealing with, and what brings us the least amount of income.
Or joy.
And joy, yes. And I feel bad now because people still call us a lot. And I'm just like, sorry. I mean, occasionally I'll cave, and if I had a really good customer that's been with me forever, and we'll take it in if it's something minor that, isn't a huge job, I'll still take care of them. But I just don't want to do it anymore. It's not it's not. I don't want to do it. Period. And it is what it is. But when I started to say, when you have when you do an accessory installation, is what we want to do, the customer is happy to do it. It's like a whole different dynamic. I can't even explain to people where you go from calling somebody up and you're just like, fuck, I don't want to call this guy who I know doesn't have any money, who I know is either out of work, slow time in his business, whatever it is. You just know that this guy can't afford this repair, and you have to call him up and go, hey, got some bad news. You need $2,000 worth of shit. And he's just like, fuck. All right, go ahead and fix it. And then you're like, yeah, but are you gonna you gonna be able to pay me? Yeah. And you fix it, and then it's not fun. It's just not fun. Like we've barely ever gotten beaten out of money. So I'm not bitching about that. I'm just saying it's just that struggle. Whereas if somebody calls you up and they want accessories or whatever, and you call up, or a lift kit, for example, I want a lift kit, wheels and tires, and I want my truck to be awesome. And you price it all out, and you call them, and you're like, hey, it's going to be $3,000. And they're like, all right, cool. I saved up the money. When can we do it? And then you know that it's going to take X amount of time. There's no surprises here. You're putting this part on this truck. Very little variances in how much time it's going to take. You can quote the guy a reasonable price and do the job, and he gets done, and he's like, awesome. It's better. Whereas when you did a repair, they're like, awesome. It's like it was before it didn't break the other day. And here's $2,000.
Still a piece of shit, but it runs. Thanks,
and
dude.
It's just so.
Now I can't feed my family.
Like I said, I just don't want to do it.
Well, then don't. And
we're not. So when you looked at it all that, you put all the math together, and it's like, I'd rather focus on selling more stuff and working on our products and being able to pull a truck in. That was the other thing. We had a lot of R&D stuff we wanted to do, different parts we wanted to make, and we're so busy all the time. You try and pull a truck in, and there's 30 of them out in the parking lot that are all broke, and people are screaming they want their truck. You'd push that stuff to the side, where now we're like, we'll take 2 days and we'll figure out this, and we'll take 2 days and tear all this apart and see how this works on this truck, and make some new parts, or install these new parts, and make a video, or whatever we need to do to help the sales side of the business. Videos. Well, we haven't really done any. That's just something I'd like to do in this.
That's another 2019 goal.
Yeah, it is. I need to make another drink.
Yeah, like I just posted today that I'm going to do live.
Yeah.
Scared.
Live what?
I'm so scared. Just a live of how I do things.
Your science?
Yeah.
You're supposed to keep talking while I'm...
Sorry. Just where'd the captain come from?
I brought all the stuff down from the shop.
Just figuring I'd do something fun for people to watch, and if they could learn something, then... Oh, you do like Squirt. All right.
No, I just grabbed it to see what it was like.
I like it.
Squirt and Captain is kind of...
Yeah, that might not be...
It's okay. I'm gonna have another one.
But yeah, I just thought I'd do something different.
Yeah.
I've only done like one live, one maybe two, because it's rather
I don't understand why you don't do lives when you're doing all your stuff.
Because...
Or not do lives, like record them and then cut them up. Because you probably have a lot of times where you have to let stuff dry, or you might have to go get a different brush or whatever. That probably isn't the most interesting thing to watch.
Right, and I can't. I have a hard time thinking anybody on Earth would find anything I do interesting.
Yeah, but
That's
then
why
you watch our daughter watch the dumbest fucking
I know,
YouTube videos
Jesus
I've ever seen in my
Christ.
entire life.
Unboxing toys and stupid shit like that.
Some of the shit she watches
I know.
is so fucking stupid. Like, she'll be sitting beside me watching stuff on her iPad, and you finally are just like mesmerized by how stupid the video is. And then you look over and it has 6 million views or some ridiculous thing.
Because they're all kids and they watch it 15 times a day.
It's so crazy. Are you leaving?
No.
What are you doing?
I was looking to see where Apple was. He's still asleep in his bed.
Oh, well, it's late.
Yeah, I know. But Boots is like, I'm enjoying this carpet right in front of the heater.
Sucking up that heat.
Yeah, screw my brother.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I can't picture people enjoying watching me do anything, but we'll see.
Do you think... Well, why don't you just... Like, that last sign you made, that big one.
Mm-hmm.
You should, if you recorded all that, but I don't think it would be good live.
No.
Maybe some people would watch it, but
Probably no.
There's so much process where you probably have to, like, put something on and then let it dry and then do the next step.
Yeah.
Where I think you should video it and, like, then cut it up and, like, put all that together so that you
I
can
did
see.
that once with a sign. It's already on my or on my Facebook page.
And what's crazy about all this stuff is I'm always amazed at a lot of these YouTube videos and stuff that would do something like that, because I don't think people realize how much goddamn work it is to make a video like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of work just to make the sign.
Right.
But that video is actually hours of dinking around, editing it all, and it's way more work than you'd think. Like,
Well,
a lot of them look like they just set a camera up and they just do their thing.
Yeah.
But if you've ever done any of that stuff and you start looking at, like, where the cuts and edits and stuff are,
Right.
and then adding the text and the whole thing, it's a lot of work. It's like almost a second job.
I know.
Beyond the first thing that you're trying to do.
And that one that I did post, I ended up doing captions on all of it because I don't like my voice, but here I am again. But did captions on it, so that was an even more, and I had to figure out how to speed it up so that it wasn't just people watching like paint drying, literally.
Right.
But so for the live, that's even going to be a lot of work because I want to get I want to get like already finished steps of things so I can be like, so I did this and this is how it turned out, so this is my next step and this is what that was, and then you know what I mean?
Right. Well, I was going to say a live would be a little different than you just doing it. Like if you're trying to do it as like a class, because you're trying to explain the process instead of just somebody just watching you do it. Right?
Well, I was going to try to explain what I was doing almost as a class in a live.
I thought that's what you posted was you're going to do. Didn't you? Holy fuck. Didn't you post that, like, hey, does anybody want to learn how to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be like a class?
Well, I said, how about a Facebook Live? Would anyone be interested? And they said, yeah.
Oh, I see. I don't know that I'd do it. You do it however you want, but I would probably do it as a cut-up video.
Yeah.
We can do, like, just let a camera roll. Or a couple cameras, and then just cut it up so that, because there's so much dead air, like where you're going to get a brush or you have to go take a drink or the phone rings or like it's doing it live is so hard unless you have like a scripted, ready to do thing in that type of situation.
Still hammering it out. I just put a feeler out there. That's all.
Seems like people liked it though.
I'll figure it out.
Well, we actually just paused it because I had to pee. So I'm not even sure what we were just talking about a minute ago. We were talking about something. That's pretty general.
We're always talking about something.
Oh, I think we were talking something about your painting, but
Yeah.
I took a good 5-minute pee, and then we talked about nothing for another 5 minutes about random stuff. Do you suppose anybody's listening? We're at 40 minutes.
Really?
Do you suppose anybody's 40 minutes into this still listening?
I'm certain.
Nobody, not one
No.
person?
No. But whatever.
I feel like this compelling...
They say you're supposed to go at least 10 minutes for anything. Lives or podcasts or any of that kind of stuff. So we've overachieved on the 10-minute.
A podcast at 10 minutes barely gets you through.
Yeah.
Most of them's like
Right.
advertisements or credits.
I was just reading stuff about lives today.
Oh, I think... Where do you tap out on a Facebook video?
I've watched certain ones for very long.
The ones that I get sucked into all the time. My absolute favorite thing in the world right now.
For lives or just videos?
No, just videos.
Oh.
Is the Hey Grill Hey. Have you seen that one?
No.
So it's... I'm guessing it's a... Well, I know it's a woman...
Well, if that's all you had to say.
I don't know where she's from or wherever, but she does a lot of videos about smoking meat and cooking meat. And it's Hey Grill Hey instead of Hey Girl Hey. And
Got it.
I'm
Picked up on that.
Wait, I'm glad
I was. Thanks for
broke that down.
Yeah.
Everybody's having trouble with it.
Painfully, it's like, yeah.
But she always is like having the recipes and the things she cooks. And if I'm scrolling through and I see that, I'm like, "Burp, let's see how you cook these ribs." And then she cooked. What was that thing I was telling you the other day? They had the cream cheese in it. Oh, it was the
pork something.
yeah, tenderloin,
Yeah.
which we still got to do. But
So you were saying that like my painting stuff would have downtime. Holy shit! Smoking has like.
yeah, those aren't lives though. That's what I'm saying. They're like cut. So
Gotcha.
they video and they speed them way up too. They're in
Right.
like nobody cares to watch you shake salt on the meat. So it's like fast, like add salt, add this, add that, add that. And then they slow it down when they're cutting it so you can see how juicy and tender it is.
Nice. It's
That's
meat
what
porn.
it looks so good.
meat
But that's what I
porn.
was saying about your painting video. You should do the same thing where you can fast forward through some of the things that are like monotonous as you're doing the whole,
Right.
you know what I mean? But whatever. You do how you do you.
I will.
Okay.
I always do.
Oh, I feel like I don't know. I just I feel like I'm out of podcast practice.
Well, it's almost been a year. Probably, in answer to your question of who's listening, is probably only like one of our neighbors or something like that.
Just see if we're talking shit.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't think we could talk shit on neighbors.
How do you feel about people talking shit about you as you get older? Does it upset you as much as it used to?
No.
Like I
No,
used to
you
get
know what, the whole
really.
getting older thing, I'm cool with. Everybody's getting all pissed off about birthdays and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I used to get really fucking torqued about people saying shit
Yeah.
about something, and now it has to be like really
Below the
ludicrous for me to get upset because I always like as the older I get, no matter what it is, whether it's life or politics or relationships, I always kind of look at people and go, all right, what makes them think that way? All right, why do you think I'm an asshole? And then you look at maybe a specific day where maybe things weren't going the greatest for me, and I interacted with them, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I probably could have been a lot nicer in that situation on that particular day. I can kind of see why that person thinks I'm a dick.
Well, that only comes with age. I mean, look at our daughter. Somebody can tell her her shoes are ugly or something, it ruins her entire week. Like, I mean, it's not going to be until, you're older that you can do exactly what you just said. I mean, I guess I probably, if somebody were to like badmouth or attack like my work, like my business or whatever, I don't think anybody ever has. If they have, I don't know about it, but I don't think I would take that really awesomely, but that's just because it's my work and my, whatever.
Right, but it just depends where that's coming from too. Like,
right.
I've run into that
I would also
12 million times.
Well, yeah,
and you kind of go, all right, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, I kind of understand they're wrong. Like,
suck a dick, but
no,
I guess.
but I get where they're coming from. On their side, they looked at it a completely different way, and they're not using the same facts or knowledge that I have of the situation. Like, they're using the facts and knowledge from their side.
Well, isn't that always what shit talk is about?
Right. And
I mean,
then there's just people that are assholes, and I guess that's the other place I've made it to in my life, where there are people in your life who, it probably depends.
you're very gassy tonight.
I got so many burps. I don't know why.
That's why your eyes are bloodshot. It's holding all the gas in.
It's blowing my head up. But I guess there's two types of people who I feel differently about if they're talking shit. So there's people that you realize as you get older, you're like, oh, fuck that person. I don't even want them in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That person's a bag of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just miserable. They're never happy. Whatever. Like, I don't need them in my life. And they can say whatever they want, and you're just like, yeah, that's the way they are about everything.
Versus people you respect, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's other people they're like,
of
oh,
course.
and as you get older, you realize, like, oh, it's usually the bag of shit people that are talking shit all the time. But also, you look at the bag of shit people, this is the worst terms in the world, but you look at the bag of shit people and you're like, oh, they got a pretty rough roll of the dice for life or whatever. Like, and some of it's self-inflicted, but you're like, oh, I get it. Like, I understand why you're so bitter or angry about shit, and you've been fucked so many times because you're either gullible or stupid or just completely
and then
unlucky.
you analyze that it's not your fault, and
Right.
they're just whatever. Yeah, it's all a process, and you don't come across that until you're older. Or you don't realize that, I guess I should say, until you're older.
And then what's really weird about getting older is looking back at life with life experience and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, we're only 40-ish, but you can look at, like,
maybe you are.
you can look at, like, 20-year-olds right now and be like, I have a lot more patience for a 20-year-old today than I did 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, I'd look at a 20-year-old and be like, you are the dumbest motherfucker in the world. And now I look back and go, oh, I know it. I get.
I know why
see,
you're doing that.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. Like, you don't know. Like, you haven't lived enough life to figure out things. Like, you haven't enough shit go sideways.
Do you suppose that's how 50-year-olds are looking at us?
I'm kind of thinking that's how 70-year-olds are probably looking at us.
I don't know.
Because it has to be the same thing. So if we're 40 and we're ish, and we're looking at 20-year-olds,
Maybe you are. I know.
60 and 70-year-old people have to be looking at us going, they don't know. They haven't figured it out yet.
Well, but honestly, I really did think I'd have my shit together by now, but
Do you think anybody ever gets their shit together?
I don't know.
Ever?
I feel like the late 50s, 60s year olds have their shit together for the most part.
Or do you think they quit giving a fuck?
Well, no. No. I think they legit finally by then have their shit together. But I want to do that now, not then.
What's having your shit together, though?
I just, you know what I mean? Just
Nope.
like not really having a struggle in life.
Yeah, but I think life is always a struggle.
Maybe.
I think there's very few people that there isn't some sort of struggle. And the reason I say that is the immediate struggle that everybody says is money,
Well, of course, yeah.
But how many wealthy people do we know that have shit shows for kids, shit shows for relationships?
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, everybody has some struggle. There's a couple people that come to mind instantly who you would look at and go, oh, they've got life by the ass. And then you talk to them and realize the struggles they're going through with their children that is completely not their fault's not they have no control over it, would be the way. And they're just along for the ride. And it's not even like the kids are assholes, just like the kids had bad luck or some bullshit that they got drawn into. And you're like,
maybe
it's a daily struggle for them just to exist. Even though they're not having trouble paying their bills, I feel like there's that same level of, the fuck.
Yeah.
I have to deal with this bullshit every day.
You're probably right.
I'm probably right, or I am right?
You're probably right. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when we get about 10 years older.
I don't think I'm going to live that long.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure,
this bloodshut eyes is a symptom of something. We're going to find out.
My brain's about to explode or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or the antifreeze I keep putting in your drinks is going to
Is that why it tastes a little bitter all the time?
Finally do the job.
Do you think that when you say
21 years.
But do you think that when you were 30, you didn't think 60-year-old people had it figured out? You probably thought 40 to 50-year-old people had it figured out. And when you were 20, you didn't think 60-year-old people had it figured out. You felt like 30 to 40-year-old.
I thought 60-year-old people were dying.
Old as fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you're 10, you don't think that 60-year-old people have it figured out. You just think the people just ahead of you have it figured out. And as it turns out, nobody really does. Everybody's just in a constant state of, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But as you get older, you start
They certainly are good at appearances.
Everybody is.
Yeah. Well,
Do you know how many people... This is what always cracks me up. When we were talking about business and stuff like that. How many people who own businesses, and that's been my entire life. I've hardly worked at a job. And same with you, to be honest with you, that I had a job. Most of my life, I was self-employed or working for my family, self-employed, and got to see that whole thing. And the amount of people, and this is a little bit weird as you get older, maybe people get a little more open about it. The amount of people that are self-employed or in businesses that everybody else thinks has the world right by the ass. As it turns out, they are shitting their fucking pants on a daily basis trying to figure out how to get to next week. And it's an overwhelming amount of people. And I don't mean 1 out of 10. I would say 8 out of 10 business owners are straight.
Maybe 7.
No. I bet you I'm even going low. It might even be 9 out of 10. Because over the course of my life, the amount of people who I thought had things completely fucking dicked.
Meaning?
And you get to, completely on lock.
Yes.
Yeah. I have everything unlocked. I figured this out. I have money. I have all my bills paid. And then you start talking to them and you're like, oh, you're shitting your fucking pants too? Oh, okay. And then what's weird is everybody puts up that facade that they're not. On the veneer on the outside is, yeah, I've got it all figured out, blah, 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 blah. And as it turns out, most of them are sitting there on Thursday night going, fuck, I hope the payroll checks don't bounce tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That's more often than not. And nobody wants to admit that. And of course you don't want to put that out there, but it's pretty, I would say, a pretty common thing out there.
Well, yeah. But I guess it all just depends on what you put out there to the general public on what they're going to think about, you know, whether you have it all in the bag and figured out, and you know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
Like there's some that parade around with as
Yeah,
if
but
they...
as you get older, how many of those people have you seen come and go?
A lot.
Like, the amount of people that I've seen this big, flashy, killing it, the amount of people that make it and that are still around in 10 years is very small. There's some that do. There's some that it's legit. But, again, probably going back to 9 out of 10, disappear.
Probably.
Because business is fucking hard. It is really hard. But
just glad we're fucking killing it.
yeah. Fucking tens of dollars.
Yeah. Woo! On
But
some days,
it's a struggle.
hundreds of dollars.
Good days.
That's, yeah.
I don't know. I was going to say something really... I had a really good point that was festering in my brain, and I lost it there.
Festering.
I don't know what happened.
Was it on what we were just talking about?
Mm-hmm. We're just going to let some dead air go now. Because this is what people like
Well, a yawn.
if we don't talk.
This is what people what?
Like if we don't talk.
Yeah. So that they can just listen to...
You were saying about your voice. You don't like to hear your voice. I fucking hate hearing my voice. It drives me fucking
Everybody
bonkers.
does. Nobody loves their voice.
I wish I could be a stranger and hear my voice coming from another stranger to feel like what I would interpret my voice as. But the reason...
You've heard it your whole life. So
I know.
you can't.
Like in my head though.
Right.
But the reason I don't feel bad about it is Tony Robbins. What the fuck is going on with Tony Robbins' voice?
Steroids.
Well, he's got that weird, like, gravelly, clear throat voice. Yeah. But you're okay with it. Like, if you listen to him talk, it's not like you're, like, constant, like, fuck, this guy's voice is making me crazy. Every once in a while, you're like, what did he say? But for the most part, you're like, oh, okay.
There are some people in life, though, that I just simply can't listen to. Because I just... want to keep clearing my throat the whole time they're talking.
Why do you suppose that happens?
I don't know.
Do you suppose there's something like physically wrong with them?
Maybe
or do you suppose
nerves.
they're like doing it, I don't want to say on purpose, but...
No, it might be like a public speaking response that like they can't help. I don't know. Like I feel like I should wear... Like I feel like I'm very nasally sounding. Like I feel like
I know I am.
I feel like I should wear a breathe right strip. Like Jimmy Norton used to do all the time, so it would pull his nose open a little, so he didn't sound so nasally. That is a thing, but I don't care enough to do that. Because, you know, the last time we did this was March of 2018.
I'm not even sure it was you.
Right.
Well, you might have been the last one.
I
Here,
swear
Here,
we did it. You're
look.
probably going to close it out by mistake.
No, I didn't. It's still going. Well, I'm going to check. No, it's still going. You almost need two computers to do this, just so you don't... Let's see. No, it was. March... Oh, no, you're right.
God. I'm so glad that got recorded. Could you say that again?
You're right. It was September 14th.
How about one more time?
You're right. It was September 14th. That was the last one we did. And then before that was March. For some reason.
Because we talked about summer.
Summer love. And then you and I did one in March. So this is your third one in a row, Pamela. Mm-hmm.
And right now, I'm chewing gum.
That's perfect. I'm going to walk over here and make a drink.
In a podcast, because everyone loves...
We're
Even better than that, I should get some food.
And even better than that, this is the other thing that people...
I should get some food and eat that so that people can... Especially the people that really love to hear people crunch things.
Oh, that actually smells good.
That's what I should do. I
What is
know
that?
it is. I don't know. It's Piper's gum. It's some kind of grapey stuff.
I'm gonna drink all this fucking.
Which
squirt.
I'm not a fan. No, that's my favorite.
Do you know it's really hard to find mellow yellow anywhere?
Except
in them, no.
Except at the races.
Well, yeah. Oh shit! Did you see Courtney Force? Isn't racing anymore?
What? Why?
I don't know. She retired or something today.
Wow.
She announced no more racing.
Huh.
So glad we took Piper when we did.
Yeah.
Just
Well, it's probably taking a toll on her.
How many times can you go 330 mile an hour and not die before you're like,
Right.
I'm good?
Yeah. Alright, I'm done chewing gum. So I won't be annoying. But I gotta tell you, it's 11 o'clock at night and I gotta work tomorrow.
You should do.
I do.
Are you trying to wrap this up, is what you're saying?
I'm getting there.
You don't want to talk to me anymore? Just stop talking.
I was waiting for you to pick up on that. I didn't know how long it'd take.
We haven't even talked about politics.
I don't wanna.
Why?
I'm not gonna stay up until midnight. We can split this into two.
No, we can't.
You can
Pam.
put this out and see if anybody feels it. And then we can talk about the ridiculousness that's happening in this country and how I can't even stand it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
I think everything's going
You're baiting
perfectly.
me. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, I set out your vagina hat with your clothes for tomorrow.
Nice.
So you can wear it.
I just can't even watch the news anymore. It's just...
We're going to give tuition aid to illegal immigrants.
See, I get weird about all that kind of stuff. Because we have two choices for illegal immigrants. If they're here and they're illegal.
And they're illegal?
They're illegal, okay? They're already here.
And they're illegal.
They're illegal, okay?
You say that so fast that it sounds like you're saying legal.
No, illegal.
Okay.
If they're not committing any sort of crimes, like they're already here, like I feel like we should stop them from coming in.
Wait. They already committed the crime by coming in illegally.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Right? But what I'm saying is, so I always think of the Mexican restaurant in Bradford there. Beer?
Which is so upsetting.
Dude, alright, so let's
Is there
hear-
one open now or no?
Mexican?
Yeah.
No, they turned it into some other restaurant. Or
Oh,
something.
is that that's the, yeah, okay, never mind, go
But
ahead.
anyways, so in our little town, there was this Mexican restaurant that had actual Mexican people that worked there, cooked the food, did everything. And it was awesome. The food was great. The people were nice. It was awesome. And then I don't know what the fuck happened, but all
They
those
got
people got
reported.
deported
Well, they got reported and deported.
and deported because they were all here illegally. Those people were not bad people at all. They're not like they're robbing or whatever.
That we know of. We just ate
So,
their
here's
delicious
what-
food. We don't know
Right.
what they
Well,
were.
here's what I don't understand about that. If you caught them robbing somewhere, all right, send them back to wherever, put them in jail, whatever. You
They're
catch...
just making a living.
Yeah, you catch somebody just
Making
working as a waitress or a cook at a restaurant, and they go there every day and they work 12 hours a day or whatever it is. Don't deport them. Just go, all right, look, hey, you're breaking the law. We need you to... whatever the fuck it is you do to get citizenship. And this is what I was saying when you're saying about money to tuition to train them or whatever. I'm not against going, all right, here's some money. We're going to help you get citizenship. And as long as you're going to do all these steps, stay here. Like,
But
we need people
that
to...
money cannot be handed out to them before it's handed out to the people in our own country that need
But what...
help.
I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't change the fact that they're here. So the fact that you...
It could, in a hurry,
No,
if you tell them to get
no.
the fuck out.
You can't though. It doesn't make sense. If you... So, do you remember that sweet... The one I always think about all the time is, do you remember that sweet waitress who's a little bit heavy set and her pants didn't fit right that worked
Oh,
at the
at the-
Mexican
oh, yeah,
restaurant.
yeah.
The sweetest
Oh,
woman
yeah.
in the world.
Oh, I know.
So nice. Would make sure that all your food's perfect. So nice. She got deported.
Yeah.
Okay? I am not... however much money it cost for the police to come and I assume arrest her, and then I assume they fly you to somewhere or put you in jail.
Well,
That must be expensive.
yeah.
Why not take that same amount of money and go, hey, I'm going to pay for you to go to some sort of class, and I'm going to pay for some public defender type lawyer to help you get all your paperwork together to become a citizen.
Better call Saul.
And do that instead of going, let's just ship these people off.
Well, no, yeah.
There's
No,
like I said, I
totally
think
get
there's
that. But how do you... They've got to set some kind of a... They've got to draw some kind of a line. Like how... Okay, how do you go from the sweet chick with her pants that don't fit right to somebody
Because-
else who comes across the border and is raping everybody? Or
Because that's, you just said
like,
it.
you know what I mean? Like, how do you...
When you arrest somebody, you're like, oh, I'm arresting you. You're an illegal. How did we find out about you? Oh, you're serving chimichangas in Bradford at this nice little restaurant. Is completely different than, oh, you just raped this person. We're going to arrest
Well,
you for
yeah,
rape or
sure.
murder or robbery. Rape or murder or robbery? Fuck those people.
I
But what
know.
I'm saying is there's so many people that come in that
just-
are just living. Like, I get both sides of it. But I think there's nothing wrong with... And this is where I think politics today and everything is getting goofy. Is when you say illegal aliens, you're lumping in a large group of people. Some of them are assholes. Some of them are not.
Right. Well, isn't that the same with any group of people?
Right. So when you say we're giving tuition to illegal aliens, the only way we're going to find out that they're illegal aliens is if they're captured. One way or another. And if you're a rapist, fuck you, beat it. I can't believe they're like, this guy raped 17 people, but here's a scholarship to Penn State.
Right,
I think you're
No.
going to be a great botanist.
I'm sure not.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but I think, and tuition's a fucked up thing anyways. Like, why do they don't need tuition? They need a legal person to represent them to help them become citizens. Like I said, that whole restaurant of people were really nice people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what they did the rest of their life and
Yeah.
outside of business, but they were sweet and nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the money that we're talking about could go to them, and somebody be like, all right, you have to take this test, and you have to learn American history, and you have to take this other test, and you have to go before a judge and do this and that, and okay, you're American. Well, now you pay taxes, and you're an American. I don't think that's a terrible thing. I don't think we should just deport those people either. And I feel like there's a lot of people like that trying to get in the United States. And
Oh, I'm
that's why I
sure.
get weird about the wall thing.
I know. But
It's just such a...
well,
The
but
problem with here's the problem with the wall thing is I
you
think
dragged me right into this
I know.
political conversation.
I think-
I did not.
both sides are right.
I know.
That's where it gets fucked up.
I know. Same here because the wall is not meant to, nobody's allowed in. It's
Right.
meant, here's a gate to come through the correct way.
Right. And then on the other side, they're like, well, most people aren't just climbing across and blah, 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 blah. But you end up in this middle ground where you're like, oh, both sides are kind of right. Like, we
Right.
should let people in. And
But it has to be through the proper channels, not...
but at the same time, if you're like, the other thing that I get weird about is like, I end up in the middle of all this shit. Like, I probably lean more right than I do left, but I get stuck in the middle a lot.
Yeah.
So like the caravans coming up here, like that big migrant caravan bullshit.
Is that still happening?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like another one coming.
All right, awesome.
If you're willing to walk from Central America all the way up here for a couple months to get in the United States, you got some ambition.
Yeah.
Like,
more than the people in this country that won't work.
Yes.
And stuff.
There's apparently people that will walk out of their house to the mailbox, get their welfare check. And this family walked all the way up here.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, all right, I don't know. Like, if you're willing to do that, then let's figure out how to make you a person that is a citizen or whatever. But we shouldn't just let you in here willy-nilly. I don't know. There's no good answers to all this. It's just fucked up.
We can't solve the world's problems.
I don't think anybody can.
No.
This is the most fucked up thing about being president.
But the whole shutdown thing is upsetting.
You know what I keep thinking about? And I don't want to seem callous, but the amount of times in my life that my paycheck got interrupted by government permits not being offered, the weather just changing so you're out of work for a month. We did construction or excavation. Nobody was like, hey, here's a free pizza because you don't have work for 2 months.
Yes, but when you sign up for construction or something like that, you're signing up for, hey, here are times you may not get a paycheck. Whereas if you're working for the government, you're supposed to have a paycheck when you're supposed to have a paycheck.
But it's still the same thing.
No, it's not.
It is.
No. If you take a job that's supposed to have a salary, period, and it just starts
Everybody
not showing
takes a
up.
job assuming that they're going to get paid every week. Nobody signs up for a job and at the beginning of the interview they're like, hey, look, you're probably going to work for 3 weeks, then you're going to be off for 6, and then you're going to be back on for 3.
No, I'm sure there are jobs that tell people that up front. If there's a high layoff and all that kind of
if
stuff.
If it's a temporary job.
Well.
But I'm talking about permanent people that have done the same job for 10 years.
I still feel bad.
I feel bad too, but what I'm saying is, like, it's weird to me that the government shut down for a month and the world's still moving on. Like, how many of these jobs are just bullshit jobs to start with?
Well, no, because they're working just without pay. It's still happening because everybody's still working. They're just not getting paid.
That is true.
If everybody said,
but
done,
all right,
I'm not going to work because I'm not getting
TSA
paid,
jobs,
then
that's
shit
a bunch
would fall
of
apart.
bullshit jobs.
What? I'm not going to debate that with you.
It is.
What do you mean?
We've been doing
making
this
me take my shoes off and stuff?
For 20 years, we've been checking people getting on airplanes. Enough.
What?
Like, I don't think anybody's sneaking a fucking bomb on an airplane. But maybe
as soon as you stop checking, there will be.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Any flight I've ever been on, it's
they could walk
really,
through
I
that.
just wanted to take my perfume to Jamaica with me, and you're making me get rid of it.
It's just bullshit stuff. Mm-hmm. I just don't think there'd be a 9/11 again. People wouldn't let it happen on the plane.
Well, I hope not.
And then they screen, like, how did bombs not get through before 9/11? They screen all the bags. They run through. Yeah. Like, I'm not against sticking the bag through the thing before you get on the plane and make sure there's not a gun or whatever in there. But this whole bullshit about taking your fucking shoes off and them touching your crotch on the way through and all that ridiculous bullshit.
They only do that to you.
It's so fucking crazy. And then do you want that bullshit job? Those people look like... There's 2 types of people that do the TSA job, I've noticed. There's the super happy motherfucker who... I don't know what the fuck that person's on. Who every person, they're like, hi, hey, have a good flight. Like, all right, motherfucker.
I've never seen a happy one.
And then there's the grumpy
They
fuck.
hate their life.
Yeah, like, oh.
Because everybody they come in contact with hates them.
But this also gets to the point of, as automation and more shit comes in, we have to have jobs for people. Oh. And you need some bullshit jobs for people to do.
I guess. But they should get paid for doing them.
How much?
I don't know. I have no idea what that kind of stuff pays. Not very much.
I don't think it's good.
No.
I don't think it's really good.
It's not very much. I think they said, like, the highest they make is like 30.
And a lot of them are way less than that too. So I don't know. There's a lot of.
But yet they can make us take our shoes off.
Right. It's pretty
And our
fun.
belts.
What's
yeah.
weird about that is, well, I guess let me go back to what I was saying. When I was working construction and things like that, and you'd get shut down for a few weeks because of weather, or you're waiting on government permits that are who knows where the fuck, or whatever the fuck, you were just off. Whereas most of these government employees, like, we can kind of go, the government's going to reopen.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to stay closed forever.
Right.
And then as far as, and I could be wrong, but as far as I understand it, all of them get their back pay.
Yes.
So it's not like...
I think.
Yeah, like, I think they get their
think
paychecks. So...
Eventually, yes.
I
then it's
get,
gonna be
like...
Pew, pew.
Well, they probably are way behind on the bills at that point.
That's true.
And maybe they already were, and I'm sure it's causing
Right.
grief for
Yes.
everybody.
Right?
Like, I'm sure it's not a fun time, but...
No.
I don't know.
I'm fading fast, honey bunch.
You ready for...
Bed? Yes.
I thought you were
No.
trying to make it a sexual advance.
Where's your other little boy?
I don't know.
One is there. Please hold.
She just literally got up and walked away.
Oh, the other one's laying in front of your spot on the couch.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Call it a day.
I would say at this point there is definitely not anybody still listening.
If anybody at this
For
point
sure.
is still listening,
Please send us an email
yeah,
or something.
send us anything, a
Please.
Facebook comment,
Yeah.
something.
Like
And
a
be
hashtag still listening.
Yeah, hashtag still here at 1:16.
You mean 11:20, but an hour and 16 minutes. Is that really how long? Okay.
An hour and 16.
Yeah. All right. Still listening. Hashtag. If
Hashtag.
anybody cares, and that'll get us to do another one. Plus, you need to start getting people. I think you should do a hood.
Nobody
one.
wants to do it. You know
Oh,
what I
come on.
found?
Roy will do it.
No, he won't.
Roy, are you still
asked him
listening?
a couple times.
Hashtag still listening?
I've asked him a couple times.
Why
You know
not?
what's weird? I've noticed what's really funny about people is people. Did you fart?
No.
Somebody has farted. Do you smell that? It definitely wasn't
Not
me,
yet.
because I
Nothing's
would have
over
just been
here.
quiet and just let it seep around.
Nope.
But what I've noticed about people is they don't. They're worried about how they'll sound. That nobody wants to sound stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other thing I've noticed is people don't really want to share their opinions publicly.
Well, for fear of judgment and whatever else comes along with it, but
Right. So
nobody's listening, so it doesn't matter.
there's very few people. Well, that's true too. But someday, like I get worried about it a little bit. Like every once in a while, like when we're talking about stuff that someday down the road when I'm running for senator or something, like this
Yeah.
podcast will come out. Like he loves Mexicans,
Oh.
but people don't want to do it. I don't know why. It's the most fun ever. Like everybody I've ever sat down with, even people who I thought were batshit crazy, it was the best time ever. People I didn't agree with, that you just let them go and go whatever. It's been fun.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun because you, especially you didn't, but I usually try and put my phone out of the way and have no distractions.
Oh my gosh. I had one noise from
Well,
my phone.
Pam, you know,
one.
I mean, you millennials and your
Married a
electronics.
celebrity. I don't know what
I
to
know,
tell
right?
you.
But yeah, I think it would be fun to have a few people together and do
We'll
the
see
same
what-
thing.
we'll
Because
see
this
what we
mic's
can
kind of
do.
easy. You can just set it on the table and
Yeah.
just talk about shit.
Yeah.
But the
I don't know how your he shed is going to be for acoustics, especially with your heater kicking on and off.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we have to find more guests. So
Yeah.
at 1:19, if you're still listening and you want to be a guest,
Hashtag still listening
Hashtag
guest.
still listening guest. All right. Well, thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
I think we're going to wrap this up and go to bed.
All right. I love you.
Are you talking to me?
No, my audience. Yes.
Bye.
You need to get your boys and put them to bed.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.